Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. My name is Sean. I'm delighted you're joining us for today's ESPC community webinar. Today I'm joined by Pascal Brunner, MVP, who will cover Accelerate Your AI Journey with Microsoft Viva. We love hearing what you guys have to say, so remember to join in on the conversation about today's webinar. Our handle is at ESPC_community and our hashtag is ESPC25. Tweet us, tag us, and tell us what you learned. Don't forget to check out our Learning Hub, which is updated with the latest blogs, ebooks, webinars, and how-to videos. You can access and view the Learning Hub by visiting our website, sharepointeurope.com, and clicking the Content tab at the top. Don't let the learning stop here. Continue to keep up and stay ahead by joining us for our next webinar. Unlock the future. Are you ready for agents and AI in SharePoint? With Nutrel Mo, MVP, and Martin Rovekamp, MVP. This webinar will take place Thursday, 20th of March, 11 a.m., 12 p.m. CET. For more information on this webinar, please check out sharepointeurope.com/register for webinars. Last chance. Today is the final day to grab your super early bird ticket for European Power Platform Conference in Vienna on the 16th and 19th of June 2025. Don't miss the opportunity to elevate your skills in Power Apps, Power Automate, Dynamics 365, and more, while connecting with top experts and peers. Act now. Scan the QR code or register or visit www.sharepointeurope.com/European Power Platform Conference. Super early bird sale is now on. Get the best price for the European Microsoft Fabric Community Conference. Don't miss your chance to connect with experts and learn from Microsoft Fabric, Power BI, Azure SQL, data engineering, real-time intelligence, and more. Secure your spot today at www.sharepointeurope.com/European Power Platform, European Microsoft Fabric Conference. This Valentine's, fall in love with ESPC 25 with insights from Microsoft, hands-on learning, and amazing networking opportunities. It's a perfect match for your professional growth. Treat yourself. You're worth it. Get your tickets at www.sharepointeurope.com/pricing. After the webinar, we'll have a questions and answers session. Type any questions you might have into the questions box. Questions will be selected and answered at the end of the presentation. This webinar will be recorded and added to the Resource Center, where you'll be notified by email when it's available. And now I'm going to pass you over to today's webinar presenter, Pascal. Hello, Pascal. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to today's session. Accelerate your AI journey with Microsoft Viva. I think Viva was kind of one of the cool kids 2 or 3 years ago, and since Copilot pops up, maybe it is not that aware anymore through the Microsoft journey. But today I would like to show you why it's even more important to have Viva within your Microsoft 365 Copilot journey or AI journey in general. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Pascal. I'm head of modern work at Compound & Schott, and I'm also a Microsoft MVP in M365 Copilot and Viva. So those are my two passions within the M365 world. So I also use quite often the hashtag Copilot your day and Viva la Viva, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, where I also regularly post about Copilot and Viva and give you the latest and greatest information within the exciting times within Microsoft. But now let's jump into Microsoft Viva and the employee experience platform. I think first of all, we have to ensure why it's still an important topic, even though AI is kind of everywhere. I think we still have the responses and the need from employee perspective to be productive, to have a collaboration, to be engaged within the community, and also to have this togetherness, even though we are spread around the globe. On a management perspective or corporate perspective, of course, we need those customer satisfaction, employee retention is super important, and different studies shows that a great employee experience within a company guides through better and more excellent results within the company and therefore also for your revenue. So Viva in general, or employee experience in general, is a great source to also drive different approaches and initiatives within your company. And of course, everyone talks about AI. So let's have a first look what Viva is and then come back how we bring added value with Viva within your AI journey. I think most of you already familiar with the product suite of Viva, but as you see, we tackle different topics within the Viva modules for single task. Of course, we have always this teams first strategy where we highlight different approaches with teams app directly into teams. And with Viva Learning, we have the growth opportunity to develop yourself. I will showcase also the standard Copilot Academy within Viva Learning for you. We have Viva Insights, which gives you a background on productivity and well-being. And with Copilot, it also gives you insights. How is the adoption rate within your company? Which are the most used or most frequent used apps and prompts to have a better understanding on a quantitative level of your AI journey. With Viva Pulse, we have this kind of short and easy way of get the pulse within your employees. Also here, it is directly integrated into Microsoft Teams where you can add your questionnaires and your employees are get an activity feed and just can click through without leaving Teams. Connections, I think this is one of the most popular Teams apps, which is of course SharePoint online intranet in the backend, but it's also deliver you the added value directly into Teams. And last but not least, Viva Engage, which formerly you may be known as Yammer, is your community approach. Amplify gives you the capability to then communicate in different campaigns. And as you see, those different apps are not quite important just for AI journey, but of course it can be used to accelerate the whole journey. And therefore you have this added value with Viva. Especially when we have a closer look how an employee circle could look like, we have of course different approaches within the employee life cycle, but also on different levels within a project, for example. So of course, onboarding, enablement, growth, but also well-being are super important. And the different parts, Viva connecting the dots for your approach within your employees, that you have the capabilities to support your employees alongside this journey. But coming back to Copilot or your AI journey. If we look back, March 16th, 2023, since then, it's of course all about Copilot. Maybe you have in mind where you've been, where Jared and Satya announced Copilot in general. But as mentioned, since then, kind of every single week, it pops up a new Copilot. We have some renamings and stuff like that. So we have Copilot for MC65, we have Copilot Chat, Copilot in Power BI everywhere. And sometimes it feels kind of overwhelming also for your employees. But of course, we have the main goal to be more productive, to have it alongside our value chain. And there is exactly where we can scale up with Viva. So what Copilot offers, or AI offers, is of course productivity increasement. You have kind of your personal assistance in the flow of work. Generative AI, I think you have heard a lot all about that. I do not have to mention that. And last but not least, of course, the integration in M365. But what we really need to have this hockey stick moment and creating this aha moments within your organization, we have to be sure that your employees can keep up the speed and be engaged and develop and growth with itself or within a community. And there, of course, Viva supports you on this journey with increases employee engagement, have a kind of flow or in the flow of work, learning experience, also with connecting to your learning management systems. And last but not least, maybe you as a product owner, you get better insights to understand maybe where are some challenges within your organization to then have the right measurements to speed up your Copilot adoption. And with that said, we see kind of a journey with Microsoft Viva that supports your Copilot or AI adoption. And to do so, I give you a moment to go through the different apps which I just introduced you. I think it's not whether Viva or Copilot, it's really Copilot and Viva, because we have three different main topics where we then support our customers and employees. On the one hand side, we have all about inform, that your companies or your employees do know what exactly happens, why are you doing such an initiative as AI, what does this really mean for me as an individual. We have the measurement perspective. As I already mentioned, I would like to understand where is the real benefit of M365 Copilot. How is the adoption rate? Even though when I have hundreds or thousands of licenses, is it really used by my employees or not? And last but not least, of course, we have to enable our employees. The best tool is not worth anything if it's not used correctly. And if you already use Copilot or AI in your daily work, you definitely know there is kind of an enablement and adoption curve also on your side. It's not just click and run, but it's really a process, and we can support our employees alongside this journey. So let's start and go deeper into the different modules. And I will show you live in the system also how we could approach such tools and how we can use it to then use it within your AI journey. First, I would like to start with inform, because I think it's a lot about inform your employees. This is sometimes also not that well managed in companies to really inform what happens, why are we doing this part. And of course, SharePoint is your single point of truth with your SharePoint online intranet, where you deliver hands-on guides and one single point of contact for your employees, where we find all the relevant information about our AI initiatives or Copilot project and so on. To do this well, of course, we have also kind of a need from corporate communication to have an easy way to inform and keep up our employees alongside this project. And therefore, we have Viva Amplify, which allows you to communicate in campaigns and then spread it into different channels. I do know in an ideal world, we just have Microsoft Teams and everything pops up in Teams. The reality is that a lot of customers or a lot of organizations still have maybe mails or user groups that are just being informed with email. We have maybe also an engaged community, and Amplify is really your way to amplify the whole organization alongside your communication part. And let's start with the first deep dive into those sections. So if you have Viva Amplify into place, of course, it is accessible through your Microsoft365.com environment. And what we see is with Viva Amplify, we are able to communicate in campaigns. So for example, and this is also a great part where Microsoft pops in, we have predefined Copilot deployment kit. So this is kind of a first indicator where Microsoft supports you as an organization with a first draft, how to inform and keep up informed your organization. Once I click here in the Copilot M365 deployment kit, we have different information. First of all, we have the overview, we have a campaign brief. which is of course super important, especially if you're not just one single person that communicate, but rather multiple different communicator and editors. You see what is the campaign objective, and also what are the key message we would like to deliver through this campaign. So it really deliver you the aspect to have a holistic view, that you align on different objectives with your communication, and all is placed directly into Amplify. Of course, this is kind of a demo environment, therefore we do not have a progress bar, but we see here also how many people have viewed our communications. Then we have the publications as well as the reporting part, where we get deeper understanding on our communication. And what we see here is we have the recent publications. So for example, we have already published Get Ready for Copilot, and then we have several drafts for week 1, week 2, and week 3. So when I click here on the Get Ready for Copilot 365, we see there is the predefined campaign where we can inform our users about the latest and greatest initiative on Copilot 365 with all the relevant information. And on the right-hand side, I can choose in which channels I would like to share those or to distribute those information. So on a corporate communication perspective, you're able to select different channels and spread it from one single point across your organization. Going back to your drafts, of course, you are able to then edit such as different information parts. Here, for example, you probably feel familiar. Of course, it is kind of the SharePoint Online environment and look and feel where you then can use and keep up your information such as it is in your corporate language, finalize those information. Then you can click on next. And then you can also implement approval processes. As I already mentioned, quite often you are just more than one people. So maybe you have kind of a leader which needs to approve a certain communication. This is everything handled directly into Viva Amplify. So to sum up, Viva Amplify helps you to communicate in campaigns, get a better understanding on how is the measurement, how does your employees interact with those different information and news posts. On a communication part, of course, we can use our SharePoint Online intranet to keep up our latest information about M365 Copilot. So for example, you can set up a Copilot M365 Adoption Center where you find all the relevant information. What is our rollout plan? Link to the Microsoft Prompt Gallery and also other resources such as PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote, Teams, and so on. You see who is in charge for this project. I think these are quite familiar in SharePoint and not that big news, but keep in mind that you inform your co-workers and employees within your single point of truth. And this is, of course, Microsoft SharePoint Online or your intranet approach. Let's go back to our presentation and going to the third part. We have recognizing directions from a leadership perspective. So there we come back to Viva Engage. Maybe you've heard the leadership corner. This is kind of a new approach within Viva Engage, where you can be this leadership example within your company. So of course, we quite often communicate in Viva Engage in different communities, such as the Copilot Your Day community. But as you probably all experience in your day-to-day life, in the real world or in the personal world, we always follow people and not communities. So with Viva Engage, we are also able to follow our leaders, for example, CEO, CIO, and so on, to then also support on a personal level the whole story, because of course top management involvement is one of the key elements and key success factors of a successful AI journey. So let's go back in Viva Engage. Let me double check. And as you already see, we have on the left-hand side always our Viva modules into our single point of contact. Of course, this is Microsoft Teams. And once I click on the community Copilot Your Day, which is kind of for everyone, I can then click on Donna Demo, which is our CEO, to have, she has an official hashtag, Moments That Matters. And she can now spread and share and post her opinion alongside her storyline. We just heard on Ignite last year that storyline will be also integrated into the Microsoft Teams chat. So when I chat with Donna in a one-to-one scenario, I will also see her storylines directly in our Teams chat. So they are able to follow her on a personal level and not just on a community level. And I'm coming back at the end at the key learnings from our Copilot project. And as I already mentioned, stakeholder management and of course, top management involvement are super important and crucial for your success. And this is something how Viva Engage can accelerate your AI journey. If I follow Donna and I see that she's fully convinced about Copilot, maybe she shares our latest opinions and experiences. And this is also another way to connect with your leadership team. Another important part in Copilot is, of course, to share insights. And of course, we could use a Teams channel for that. But in our experience, it is just another and better way to communicate and to share insights within an engaged community. And this is for different aspects. Of course, it is more on a social part, as we more know on personal level. And this is super helpful for our daily work. I go back to our Copilot Your Day community. And what we see here is we have different approaches to use Viva Engage. We do not have just a discussion part, but we are also able to ask questions or to have a short poll. And one of the key elements is also that you can share it and then like, interact, comment, and also have this short poll. So where do I use Copilot most frequently? I would say in Microsoft Teams, I can easily upvote this one. And I have different approaches to interact within a community. And this really works. I have just a project ongoing where we use the Copilot or the Viva Engage community. And this is a complete different way, especially when we use the campaign features. So for example, we have prompt challenges. Every single week, we publish a prompt challenge, and we have the hashtag prompt challenge. And then we go through, share the latest prompt challenge, and all the different users share their insights and the best prompt. They can upvote it, and then we have a winner every single week, which also have this kind of gamification approach. So use the engaged community to have, as it's already said, this more engagement approach within the different pilot user. It's an easy way to share the latest and greatest learnings, insights. You can also mark communities members as experts. So I see here kind of the blue badge, which we all know from, for example, on LinkedIn as a LinkedIn top voice or on Instagram. So you can also identify experts within a community, which also gives another authority within a community. Fifth part is seek knowledge. Seek knowledge, of course, it's important because there are kind of similar questions that pops up. And one of my favorite features within Viva Engage is Viva Answers, because it uses Swarm intelligence within your community, and it makes it even more helpful once more and more user will be part of your Copilot journey. So what it really is you can ask your question within your community, and then not only it supports you, or you can ask your question. Let me double check where we have asked question. For example, how Copilot helps me in PowerPoint. It is marked as a question. We see there is a best answer. So you are able to answer different questions, and then you can upvote it as this is a good question, and you can also mark it as this is the best answer. Of course, this is quite familiar on, I don't know, other forums and stuff like that, but this is really within your different engaged communities. And now what's the fun part? Of course, we have also AI integration on answers in Viva. For example, when I now start typing with Copilot, it goes through all the already questioned questions, and I see, hey, there is already what is Copilot in Microsoft Edge, and there is the best answer. Instead of publish it a second time, I just can click here and get the answer on this information. So it also helps you to get better and better understanding, support your user, and build up a knowledge base within your community. And I really, really like this feature because I think it's kind of underestimated, but it helps you to build up your community, to support you each other, and have this AI supported approach. Going back to the sixth and seventh part, of course, I think it's important to always celebrate success, also internally. Of course, Engage and Amplify can support you on that as well. You can build up in Engage, I know, prompts of the week, as I already mentioned, or do internal success story, spread it around the world or around the globe within your community, and this really helps. And last but not least, support and feedback. As I already mentioned in the beginning, to build up a proper Copilot adoption page where you find all the relevant resources, to build up who is responsible for what, and last but not least, to also give feedback for your end users is super important. And there really can help you all the different Viva modules. And the best part for end user perspective, it feels all natural because you will stick within Microsoft Teams and do not have to change to any other system. And this is, of course, super important to be within the flow of work. So let's come to the measurement perspective. I think this is more on a product owner perspective to get a better understanding. However, I would focus today on Viva Insights and Viva Pulse. We have at the very top also the Viva Glint integration, which is your employee listening tool. But for today, I would like to stick within Viva Insights. You probably all heard the Copilot dashboard. And one of the fun parts is the integration with Viva Pulse, because there you get direct feedback within your Copilot dashboard. So starting from the Copilot dashboard perspective. So as I already mentioned, we need to understand how does the summary or how does the engagement look like. I will show you in a live demo as well in just a minute. And Copilot dashboards summarize all the activities within your Copilot engagements. It gives you also a better understanding. Hey, where is the real impact? How many active Copilot users do you have? How many actions have been used the last 2 or 3 weeks? What are the highlights? What are, I don't know, how many Teams chats or team meetings has been recorded and summarized by Copilot? So you really get a better understanding. Especially, I think it's important to understand what's really good already, but also to identify, hey, maybe, I know Copilot in Excel is not that used or not used that much. And then you can also do proper change measurements to increase the activities around Copilot. So not just have a look, but really an interactive way to get your organization better and better. So let me switch back to the Copilot dashboard. You can always access, of course, if you are able to do so, through aka.ms/Copilot dashboard. You need to have the permission to do that, but then you get access to the Copilot dashboard. And of course, this is not super interesting here because we have just a few users, but let's imagine you have hundreds or thousands of different licenses, and then you can also cut it down into organizations or departments and get a better understanding how is the readiness, adoption, and impact part. So let's go through the readiness perspective on a Copilot dashboard. So Copilot dashboard is powered by Viva Insights, where we have the adoption rate. We see how many active Copilot user and how many inactive user you have, how Copilot transform your work from meeting, chat, document, emails, and Copilot chat perspective. This is what we also saw on the print screen a few seconds ago. And we have also an adoption part where we then identify, okay, how many licenses we have in place, how many active user per apps. And this is what I mentioned. If you see, hey, Excel is super low, maybe it's because they don't see the added value in Excel, but maybe it's also that you have to do additional measurements within Excel to keep up also those activities. And then we have active user count or action per user, different ways to interact with it and get better and deeper insights on your Copilot activities. And one thing it's super important from my experience is the impact, because the first two are really on a quantitative level where you collect all the different signals. But of course, I would like to understand, hey, what's our user feedback? And of course, we can do that on a forms, Microsoft Forms survey, where just ask a user, hey, please give me feedback, and then we get result. Or we use Viva Pulse, where we then have the direct integration into the Copilot dashboard. So we see here are your company perspective with a global benchmark. And when we use Viva Pulse, we can set up a new Pulse questionnaire. So let's do this. I would like to send a Pulse. And what we see here is we have survey templates also provided by Microsoft. And if you scroll down a bit, we see the Microsoft 365 Copilot Impact Survey. And this survey is directly connected within your Copilot dashboard. And once I click on that, I see the different questions. Using Copilot helps me improve the quality, spend less mental effort, allows me to complete tasks faster, and I am more productive. These are the 4 standard questionnaires. And then I just can spread it, for example, to my community. I can set it on a weekly basis where I then get the insights, how is the different measurements increase or decrease. And I can then see it directly into our Copilot dashboard, as I already mentioned. So this is kind of the impact dashboard approach. But you see, there are also other questionnaires. And this is, of course, also not just for your AI journey, but also for your other employees questionnaires. But we're focused today on Copilot. So let's do, hey, how is the Copilot adoption looks like? That we have 8 questions already into place. I can easily move up or move down. And I'm also able to add questions. And if I do so, we have a question library where I can then also just click different questions and it will be directly integrated into your questionnaire. So for example, also here the change management asks, so I would like to do those 3 questions added. And once I do this, it's directly integrated into my questionnaire. And from that point of view, I can then spread it to my community or to my pilot user, or if you're in a rollout on all your different users. And as I already mentioned, I think this is super cool because as an end user, I just get a pop-up on the activity feed. I can click on that. I do the 4 questions for the impact report, and I'm ready to go within seconds without leaving my flow of work to then also get more results on your end user perspective. So to sum up, Viva helps you also on a measure perspective to measure the impact, to measure the readiness, and of course also to measure the adoption to then have a better Copilot change management approach within your community or organization. And the third pillar is learn. Of course, AI needs new skills. I think you probably all know that it feels kind of hard coming from Google keyword search to prompt sentence or even paragraphs. And here also supports you Microsoft Viva or Viva Learning, especially within your Copilot journey. So with that, the Copilot or Viva Learning approach is that you have a predefined Copilot Academy, but you have, of course, also a Copilot integration into Viva Learning to have even better understanding which modules are relevant for you or not. Exactly. So then, for example, on the right-hand side, you see welcome to Copilot, and then you can ask, hey, getting information, what are AI fundamentals, and it will provide you first indication. But let's go back to our community approach, what we already said. We have on the left-hand side, Viva Learning. And once we click on Viva Learning, you have also kind of your learning hub within your organization. This is not only limited to Microsoft resources, but you can also connect with your existing learning management systems, such as SuccessFactors or stuff like that. And it will be integrated into Viva Learning. So if you see what we see here is, for example, we have LinkedIn Learning integration. We can also select it by providers. So we have LinkedIn Learning, Go One, our component shot own learning material, Coursera, and so on. So it's not an LMS, but really your learning hub within Teams. And at the very top, and this comes within your Copilot license, you have also the Microsoft Copilot Academy. And this is delivered by Microsoft, and therefore you have the Academy catalog where you have predefined activities, learning activities for your customers or for your employees. For example, Meet Copilot, Intro to Prompt, Save Time, Create and Transform. There are a lot of different resources. And if I'm new to Copilot, of course, this could be an easy way to start to just use the Copilot Academy to get a better understanding. And what we see here is this is really a direct integration into Microsoft Teams. So also here, I do not have to switch to other platforms, but I'm coming from Microsoft Teams, go into Viva Learning, and I can then use the videos and stuff like that directly into Viva Learning. For example, here, Meet Microsoft Copilot, and can see the different videos. If I go back, I have also the capabilities, for example, responsible AI, which is super relevant nowadays. And you get the input, what is responsible AI. And if you're already familiar with Microsoft Learn, you probably know those information. So these are all information that is already here at Microsoft Learn or Microsoft Support, but as already mentioned, directly integrated into Microsoft Teams through Viva Learning. So we see Viva supports us across the whole AI journey, not just inform better or be more engaged from an end user perspective, but also for a corporate communication perspective to have an aligned campaign communication part. And last but not least, also as a product owner, to have a better understanding where is the real impact, maybe where have we due to have some adjustments to have a better change measurement. And last but not least, which is kind of often on an HR perspective, also the development to increase the skill within your company with Copilot in this example. But as already mentioned, you can expand it to different projects as well. And this was really kind of on the surface level. Each and every single module is able to do even more and deep dive. But for today, it was important for me to give you this holistic point of view, how Viva accelerate your AI journey. I would like to close this webinar also with our key learnings from our Copilot project, because I think there is really this actions where Viva can support you on the whole journey. I do not go into every single aspect, but would like to highlight a few of them. First of all, I think it's really important with AI or Copilot in general to start with your business, not just within the IT department, but really be engaged with your business, that they can share their best practices or their added value. To use Copilot as a platform, especially when we talk about agents. So definitely go to tomorrow's webinar where Knut is talking about SharePoint agents and stuff like that. I think you have to see Copilot as a whole platform. And then the top management involvement, as already mentioned, I think it needs to be a strategical approach on AI to spread it across your organization and not just stick within 2 or 5 licenses. I think there you have no chance to see the real added value, especially when you talk about added value alongside your value chain. And last but not least, number 6, I think this is super underestimated nowadays. Everything or everyone is doing AI and Copilot, but only a few are really doing a goal setting approach and a strategical approach. So ask yourself, why are you start your Copilot or AI journey, and what would you like to achieve? Because what we saw on those different projects, time savings are not enough. We really need these business value cases. And as I already mentioned, to do so, we can use the whole Viva platform to inform, engage, and grow your business departments, and with that said, also your individual employees. I think there is so much more to say, but I would like to have also a chance from your side to ask your questions. And as I already mentioned, please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or reach out to me if you have any questions through LinkedIn, and would appreciate if you follow me. So now I'm curious, Sean, if there is any
Yeah,
question.
yeah. So thank you, Pascal, for a great presentation demos. So now we'll get into questions and answers part. Should you wish to ask a question, please feel free to type in the questions box now. So our first question is, are all Viva modules available under the Viva license, or are they licensed per module?
There are different bundles. I think what's quite interesting also from Microsoft perspective is that kind of many Viva modules will be integrated into the Viva into the Copilot license. So for example, Viva Pulse and Viva Insights, I think it's queued Q2 this year, where it will be integrated into the Copilot license. Of course, Viva Connections and Viva Engage are part of the M365 license. Where you need an additional license is when you would like to have answers in Viva, for example, and also additional integration for your LMS in Viva Learning. But I can share the bundle link with you, Sean, and maybe you can then add it
Perfect.
to the recording, because there are different approaches.
Yeah, will do, of course. So the next question there is, how do you see Microsoft Viva evolving in the next few years with AI advancements?
I think there is also a kind of a different tension on the market. I know some customer got frustrated because Viva Topics got deprecated and now Viva Goals. I think there is no doubt, in my personal opinion, I do not know, of course, but I think Viva Insights is key for Copilot. So Copilot dashboard is super important. Viva Pulse is also super important. Engage and SharePoint Online or Viva Connections, I think this is also set. So I think there is kind of a realignment on Microsoft side, but what I've presented today, I think there is definitely worth to have it in mind, or also to integrate it into your AI journey. And I think there's kind of a integration in every single Viva module, also on a Copilot perspective. So for example, you have Copilot in Viva Engage, you have Copilot in Viva Learning, where it then also supports your end user. So I think it's getting closer to and closer that Viva is also AI infused, of course.
Perfect. So this next question there is, what security measures should organizations consider when using AI-powered insights from Microsoft Viva?
On a security level, right?
Yeah, security, yeah.
Yeah. I think, of course, if you have any worker council, it's super important to be aligned with the worker council. For example, in Germany, is that the case? And I think also to be transparent and inform the employees what can be measured and what cannot be measured, because there are several thresholds that have to be activated, that you see different insights. So of course, Microsoft is also quite invested that that you get the best insights without for such an individual. So I think to be aligned also from a security, legal, and worker council perspective within the project kickoff is super important. But in our experience, there is definitely a benefit if you use Copilot dashboard to also enable and support your end users even better.
Perfect. So the next question there is, what steps should organizations take to prepare their workforce for AI transformation with Microsoft Viva?
For me, it's definitely one of the key indicators is the adoption rate, to just have a rough estimation how much is it used. And then I'm a real fan of the impact dashboard, because we have on the one hand side this quantitative feedback from just signals which Microsoft is collecting, but we have also the qualitative feedback from employees. And then we get also better understanding and can connect quantitative with qualitative feedback to have then a better action plan or measurements along your AI journey. And what I've not mentioned, you're also able to build up additional dashboards within Copilot dashboard. So this is powered through Power BI, where you then also have additional insights. And maybe one thing I would like to add, what I already mentioned, I think coming from an impact dashboard, but then also have the understanding, what does this really mean for me as an organization? What does this really mean on my value chain? Do I have faster resolution time if I providing faster, if I'm fast in the deal cycle, if I'm deliver more qualitative work for my customer, to then really shift from time savings into real business value.
Perfect. So I think that looks like all the questions. So on behalf of the ESPC community, we'd like to extend a big thank you to you again, Pascal, for taking time out to carry this webinar. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So that's the end of today's webinar. You can find this webinar and more at sharepointeurope.com/resource center. Thanks again to all of you for joining us today, and I hope you join us again soon. Take care.
Bye.